Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lee and here we talk about all things books, writing, and theater. This is my first ever vlog about theater. For a little bit of backstory, I have done theater since I was a child, since I was in early elementary school, all the way through grade school, high school. Took a break while I was in college, but then I was also actively involved in community theater as an adult. And this is my first year as being a high school theater director. It's just been a joy to teach people about what has helped me be me and help them discover themselves through the creative arts and dramatic arts. And it's just a joy, you know? I've never had one moment where I've regretted having theater be a part of my life. So that's a little bit of background info. I do teach high schoolers, so every day's an adventure. But basically I want this video to talk about the audition and cast list process. I realize that I am a new director, and so I'm not documenting my first show. That would have been insane. There was so much that was going on that I just needed to weather the storm, and this time around we're working on finessing weathering the storm. So the refinement process is what I wanted to document. So if you are a first-time director or new to directing, I hope that this is helpful for you. I hope that we can find some mutual, decompression camaraderie together. But if you've been working at this type of thing for a long time, I am a firm believer that I am not the smartest person in the room. And I myself need refining, and so I would appreciate any advice, comments, critiques, whatever you got. I will always want to be better because I'm working with kids and they deserve the best. So obviously the first thing needs to happen is you need to prep for your auditions. You need to let people know what's happening. So my first show, I had I think it was Sign Up Genius. I used like a website sign-up sheet. Didn't like that. It was too tricky for kids to navigate. I didn't like how it was set up, so I decided to use a spreadsheet for kids to sign up. Specifically, my returning drama students to sign up for an audition time if they wanted to. And it's just easier than having people come and sign up on the audition day. If I know when to anticipate kids coming, I can better prepare. And also, I had 2 audition days scheduled for this show. It was during the last week before winter break, and that week is crazy, but there was no better time to do that because we had state tournaments and various things that were happening in December. It was crazy. So I also knew that my returning students wouldn't be able to make those 2 days, not all of them. So having an editable spreadsheet for them to go and be like, this is the day, this is the time, this is the part I'm auditioning for, just made it so much easier to do that, and they can go in and change it at will. They're not locked into any audition time. So I did that for my returning students, and then I had a sign-up sheet at the door for any new students who wanted to audition. Made sure that spreadsheet was done several weeks out, I think about 3 weeks out. I also made sure to prepare monologues. For the first show I did, it was a lengthy enough show that I could pull sides and monologues from the show itself. Helped tremendously. This time around, didn't have time, and also that was so much work to do that. This time I pulled prepped monologues from not in the show, but in the style of the show. So this is a comedy show, and so I had some comedic monologues for both gender identifications. They were not limited to those. They can pick whatever they want, but I had some specificity there. And then I also picked ones that would lend towards a British accent. That was also a requirement for auditions for this show. So they had those at the same time that rehearsal signups went out. I also, and this saved me so much time at the door for auditions, I gave all returning students a digital copy of my audition form. And I don't require them to send it to me. I don't require a CV or a headshot or anything like that. I also made available a sort of play synopsis, an explanation of the genre of the show, as well as a rundown of what each of the characters were so that people could kind of mentally prepare. And we had talked about in the previous show what this new show was going to be about, so that my returning students had a little bit of idea. But new students obviously wouldn't know, and so I made posters and I included QR codes to those documents that were viewable to the entire student base to learn about the show. If they found it interesting, then they could sign up for an audition time. I did, like I said, the day of, put sign-up sheets for those new students on the doors, and that worked out really well. Again, I feel like still that it's a little too complicated. I don't quite know how to simplify or streamline it any more than I did. Maybe I'll have a better brainstorm for next year, but if you have any ideas about how I can streamline that process, let me know. I would love to, like I said, make it a little better.
All right, first night of auditions. Here we go. I hold evening auditions, so this was from 6:30 to 8:30. First thing I do when I get in is obviously unlock the auditorium and then turn on the production lights and the house lights.
Hello.
Mildly embarrassing, had a student interrupt me while I was vlogging. Then I pull out my little audition cart. On it, I just have my audition forms and pens, as well as some encouragement for the students and a quiet sign. And then it is time to get started. So, yeah, I'm so excited for night one. Then when I'm done, I obviously pack up all my audition forms and collect all the monologues that I set out just in case someone's not memorized. And then I pack up and it's time to go home. That little green notebook that you actually see on the table, I just have some reflection questions that I ask my returning drama students because I always want to make sure that I'm being as good as I can for them, that we streamline the program, fix any major mistakes that arose during the last production, just so that they know I listen and want to value their opinion. That was me realizing we have a whole other night to do this. I put away my cart. My cart also has some like vocal care stuff as well as water and a couple snacks if kids have, need something to eat or drink or something to calm down with. And then I make sure to pack everything else up and put my coat on, grab my bag, and we're gonna lock up the auditorium after night one of auditions. It was a really good night, good way to kick off the show. Had about 15 kids audition this first night, and it went really well. So I can't wait to see what night two brings. I'm talking quietly, one, because the school is empty. And it's creepy. And I'm pretty sure one of the automatic toilets just flushed on its own without anybody being in there. That was terrifying.
Let's talk about audition forms. What do I include on an audition form? What do I want ahead of time before they do their monologue? I have edited this document so many times based on what I had originally for my first show. Weirdly, one of the biggest problems I had was I asked for either a parent phone number or a parent email. Don't do that. Ask for all one or all the other. Having everyone's email so I can send out group emails for updates about the program saved my bacon this time. So glad I did that. But that's like a typo you wouldn't think of, ahead of time. But anyway, let's go through this sheet. So I always have an audition number in the upper right-hand corner, just an organizational note for me to know who auditioned when and for what. Obviously, I ask for the kid's name, their grade, their phone number, their email, pretty standard stuff. Parent information, the roles they're auditioning for. Again, this also helps me prep ahead of time. What lens am I watching you through? Or, if you're not a good fit, are there any backup options for other roles that I think you would be a good fit for? This next part, I think, was the most important thing I put on this audition form. Would you be willing to accept any role/job? Because we are a smaller school. I can't cast everybody, but I know that there are kids who want to be in drama. And so if they are willing to accept any role or job, that means that they are willing to be on crew if they are not cast in the show. That's huge. And I make sure that kids know that that's what they're agreeing to fully. If you're willing to accept any job or role, I'm going to hold you to that. Ask for the previous 3 theater shows that you have been in. That's 1, to save space, and 2, I wasn't here. I didn't know or witness anybody's acting that far back. So I just want you to highlight the productions you were in, the roles you had, and the year that they happened so that I can kind of have a better memory jog of, oh yeah, they did this, oh yes, this is what their work was like. Pretty standard. I just don't want a page of information about it. I ask for if there's any previous training in theater, dance, or music experience, and some of these are designed for little mini humble brags as a confidence boost, but it also helps me future plan. Sneaky little question in there on the audition form. I don't direct individual shows. I am a director of a program, and so my purpose here is longevity and health of the program. And if I ask questions like this, I get kind of a general idea of, oh, there's a couple people who play guitar. Oh, there's a couple people who can juggle or do yo-yo tricks. I don't know, but at least it gets my creative juices flowing for picking shows in the future if I know outside ability level. And again, the next question, other talents, gymnastics, tap, musical instruments, accents, stage combat, etc. Just keeps me abreast of these skills that these students have learned so that I can plan for the future, and also lets me know, hey, how versatile are you? How willing are you to explore areas of talent for drama? This next section is also critically important for me. I have all people who are interested in stage crew also fill out an audition form. I don't make them audition, but I still need their information. But this is a section mostly for them. So do you have any interest in helping with any of the following? And they circle all that apply. Lights, sound, set, hair, makeup, costume, stage managing, crew, directing, props. Again, that is for mostly my crew people. What are you interested in? What do you want to try? That kind of thing. But it also is good for cast. So hey, if I don't get cast in the role I wanted, here's an area where I still would like to help. And I include directing and stage managing on there for a reason, because normally I am not inclined to give a stage managing role or a director role to anyone younger than a junior. And if they're a junior, they got to show real initiative. Normally those are upperclassmen roles. But if a freshman comes along and said, hey, the idea of stage managing is interesting, or I watched this one kid be the assistant director for a show, I like that. Again, allows me to keep the thumb on the pulse of who could possibly fill those roles later on down the road. So dual purpose, helps me keep in touch, lets me know what they're interested in. And this is probably the most important part on an audition form, conflicts. If kids are in high school, I think it's the worst thing to punish a kid for being in multiple activities, especially if you're like us, you're in a small school, you have an opportunity to become well-rounded. Not a lot of kids get that opportunity. And so I need to know conflicts, and do your conflicts impact the not performance weekend? I want to know if you have major conflicts during our mandatory rehearsal period, which is tech week, dress week, and performance weekend. Yes, I require 2 weeks of mandatory rehearsals. If you have a problem during any of those 2 weeks, I gotta know. Yes, sometimes unfortunately does impact casting, but it mostly just lets me know what do I need to prepare upfront ahead of time in rehearsals so that I can better manage the scramble of maybe not having everyone here toward the end. The more information you can get ahead of time, so much easier down the line when you want to be dealing with contingency, not so much unknown. I guess you want to be prepared for the worst, hope for the best. So obviously important. I'm sure that's included in a lot of other high school directors' forms. It's a big deal. Got to be here when you're supposed to be here. So that's all I include on the information that I need for auditions. Let's talk a little bit about what I am looking for in an audition. So I have something that I created based on several templates and just my own want for things in theater and acting audition score sheet. This most likely, I have yet to direct a musical, so this most likely will change based on when I next direct a musical, which will be this coming fall. Really excited for that. But for now, this is mostly just about straight acting. So obviously, need name and grade again, and this is on the back side of the audition form, so they bring me the filled out form, I turn it over and can have all that information together with the audition information. Just works out better all in one place. I don't have to scramble for multiple pages. I also like handwriting these. I don't like having a computer out and clicking and clacking because I don't want to be distracting while they're monologuing. I have like a grading scale that I give, and this is what it means. So if you receive a 1 in a category, it needs experience. Most of my youngest kids will get this because they've had no polish or work time available on stage. A lot of new kids get that. If they have a 2, it's approaching a skill level. So they've had some experience, but they have not been given an opportunity to refine it yet, or to develop it yet, I guess I should say. 3, about average. It's a good skill. They've worked on it. It is reliable. That's kind of the big marker for 3. You're reliable. You're going to do what I'm going to ask you to do. If you get a 3. 4 is great. That is a skill that is well developed. it needs refining, which is my favorite place when a kid gets. When a kid gets to that spot of a 4 in a category and they are so close to being excellent at what they do, which is a 5. 5 is excellent. If they are at a 4 and they just need the refining, that's going to be a fun show for them because they are going to step out of their comfort zone. They are going to get good at what they're doing on stage or backstage. And it just is my favorite. But that's just a better way for me to know kind of scale level wise, hey, what do we need to work on? Hey, is this role going to be a good fit for them because of where they scored? Do I think this is an opportunity to push them? Do I think this is an opportunity for them to develop? Or are they needing to watch or observe, learn by osmosis first? Just kind of depends. So that's my scale. This is what I look for when someone is delivering a monologue or a side. I look for concentration. Student establishes and maintains focus. Do they get distracted? Do I see panic in their eyes if they forget a monologue line? Does something on their outfit make them not pay attention? Are they zeroed in and focused on what they need to be doing? I also look for physical expression, gestures, posture, movement. Are they swaying back and forth? Are their legs shaking? I forgive a little bit of the leg shaking because we can't always control nerves. But are they picking at their skin? Are they constantly adjusting their clothes? Are they letting their nerves, stage fright, take over how they would move as a character when they deliver this monologue? That is, in my opinion, the hardest category to score high in. It takes a great amount of discipline to overcome stage fright, and so I don't see a high score in that category unless it's someone who's well experienced on stage. Just kind of the trend that I've been noticing. Vocal expression, diction, projection, rate, pitch, vocal variety. Are they entertaining to listen to? Do they have a natural ability to throw their voice? Do they understand sort of the nuances of how to deliver a sentence? This is also one that I pay high attention to because nerves make people talk fast. I myself sometimes catch myself rambling when I film these videos because I don't have a focus as to where I'm going. So I'm sure I probably did it in this video. But I watch for vocal expression. I watch for text in subtext, pronunciation, understanding of the material. Did they look up words they didn't recognize? Do they stumble over words they maybe don't know the meaning of? Do they understand the point of what they are saying? And I picked a monologue from the play The Audition and had some people deliver that one. And that was so much fun watching them be in an audition delivering a monologue from the audition. It was kind of a meta thing and they had a lot of fun with that. So do you understand what you're saying to me? Do you understand the story that you're telling, even in just this brief monologue? And then the overall impact. Are they confident, believable, passionate, bold, engaging? Are they fun to watch? And that's what we want the audience to see. Even from the get-go, they've only had 3 weeks to prepare this monologue. Are they someone that people are going to be like, hey, they're really good, that was enjoyable? Or, oh, I forgot that it was so-and-so, Sally, up there delivering that monologue. Oh, it sounded like that character. I forgot who she was for a minute. That's what I'm looking for. And again, I'm not expecting huge things from an audition. I'm just having a frame of reference of what I look like, or what it's supposed to look like when they deliver a good monologue. Then I total up their scores, and then I have a box down below where I keep notes. If I agree, disagree with the part that they wanted, do I think they'd be a better fit? Is there something I'm thinking about for them? Do I want to push them? Do I think they need more time? Did something surprise me? I obviously use that also as a space to give compliments if something went really well. I did not have a callback for this show, mostly because it wasn't as complicated as the previous one. I did have a callback for my previous show, and that was where we read the sides. It was more like a chemistry read of who I wanted to see in what role. Didn't do that this time around. But I used that instead as a way to indicate, is this person a good fit for the role they want? If I thought so, then I circled yes. If I thought that either they weren't a good fit or they needed more rehearsal time, then I would circle N for no, and I would come back to finding a spot for them. So that's my audition form. That's what I look for in auditions. All right, that is the end of auditions for Play On. What a process this has been. I ended up with 33 auditions, which is pretty good. Now, to be fair, some people come to just talk about stage crew stuff, so The actual number of people who auditioned is probably closer to maybe like 22 or so, but I always like to just do both cast and crew together because I like to chat with everybody, talk about parameters, what are the things they're interested in. If there's any issues outside of the theater, we talk about those. So we had 33 kids show up, much bigger turnout than the last show, which was good. Casting this will not be a challenge in terms of bodies. So breathing a sigh of relief, but now the hard part begins where we do some deliberations. And I'm excited, I'm anxious, but for tonight I am going to put everything away, go home, and get some much needed rest and relaxation to enjoy the holiday. So until we sit down for those deliberations, Merry Christmas.
Hello, we interrupt today's Lego building session because I still have work to do. So we thought it was winter break. It is winter break, but today is my last day of actually getting stuff done so that I can enjoy my winter break. So we're gonna go make some deliberations about cast and crew lists. Let's do it. All right, here we go. Hardest part of the process right here. So first thing I do, obviously, is pull out all of the forms for those people who just want to work crew. Their assignments are easy. They're just based on preference and experience level. And then we start on adding up total scores for all of my auditions. That just helps me get kind of a better gauge for who has an ability level and where it's at. And then from there, it's honestly just a combination of skill level and my gut telling me who will be the best fit for each role. Sometimes there's some fun decisions that get to be made if it's, someone who's done a lot of work and they get to have a fun role on stage, if it's someone who needs an educational opportunity, or if it's someone who I think would be better shadowing a role as an understudy. It just kind of depends on what's the best fit for the show. Anyway, took me about 2 hours, but we made it and we're ready to enjoy the rest of break. But I did not rock the boat my first show. Like I said, I was learning the space, learning the kids, learning the program. I watched for more specific things. This is an educational sphere. I am teaching children about drama, and therefore my expectations were elevated this time around. I think there's also a stigma that comes with high school theater that seniority earns you things. I don't agree with that on the whole. I think sometimes people confuse seniority with experience. It is true that a child who is a senior has been in drama for 4 years, has more experience, therefore more time to develop those skills. So their natural ability and their ethic have made them worthy of larger roles because they've had the most amount of time to learn those drama skills. I do not think that you should be given a part based on your grade. I think that's shoddy educator work, in my opinion. And so I refused to do that this time around. I don't believe that you earn roles based on what you've been in the past. What dictates your ability to get a role is your preparedness in your audition. If I know your work ethic, if I think you're responsible and a good sportsman-like person. Those are kind of the three things that I look for. Someone who I know is going to be a good leader. When you're on stage, you're a public face for the school. Are you worthy of that level of leadership and responsibility? Same thing if you have a design role backstage. Is your work reliable? Do I know that you're going to be responsible with the part that you're given? Are you going to put your best foot forward? And then obviously your preparedness for the audition. And that I think is what tripped a lot of kids up. I asked for monologues to be memorized this time, and I think that surprised a lot of people. Like I said, I've had about 80% of kids who are memorized. I think it's true that one of the hardest things to experience as a director is watching kids who have that ability not put in the time for the audition. They didn't take it seriously. They didn't plan for it, whatever. And directors having to realize that this is still an educational sphere. And if an opportunity arises for a younger student to take on a role to develop their skills or to be given a chance to try something new, that has to take precedence. It's not necessarily about making stars out of kids, which really should never be the reason for theater, but about creating longevity and health in the program, and that has to happen by giving kids opportunity. And so I set myself up for some of those big decisions, and oh boy, boy howdy, did that rock the boat. But it was also a really
gratifying process. It kind of cemented the trajectory that I wanted for this program, to create a healthy and educational sphere that was a safe place for learning and growth and development. Okay, it's a full winter break later when I did my vlog. The entirety of winter break has happened, and my plan was to post the cast list the Friday after we got back from break. That's still happening. It's still going to be up on Friday, but I was hemming and hawing about how I wanted to handle the cast list going up, because I'm not going to lie, this one I believe the youths are going to think is pretty controversial. And so I was like semi-debating with myself of like, do I post it at the end of the day and like sprint to my car and peel out of there so fast? Or I was thinking that because it's what I did the last time. Not like I was panicked or anything, but I'm like, just to let emotions lie. I work in the building, and so kids having access to me can breed problems, as I'm sure other directors know. But I have been through such a process with this particular show, and just personal growth in general, that I'm like, you know what, if I'm going to stand on business and I'm going to be confident in myself, that I need to post it and I need to be present. And if I feel this way about a thing and I am confident in myself, then my behavior needs to reflect that, I guess is what I was trying to say. So 4 o'clock hit when I usually leave, and I walked up and I posted the cast list and crew list, and it's done and dusted. I am sure directors have experienced a lot of kids complaining or hearing passive aggressive comments, or God forbid parents get involved, so I'll update you if I experience any of that. I don't know. I am not going to speak anything negative out into the universe. I'm just going to let it ride. So I'm going to sit and I'm going to enjoy my homemade popcorn, and fingers crossed that everything goes well tomorrow. Hard part about casting. Hard part about being in charge of students in general. Hard conversations with parents. You have good parents who understand and are open to their children learning things, who still remain supportive, who are upset, obviously. I would be too if my child didn't get what they worked hard for and wanted. But it just takes one parent to attack you as a person, to go after your job, to make you feel like you became a villain for doing what you believed to be fair and right. It's hard. Today was hard. New lessons in how to handle myself professionally, how to stand up for myself, how to show empathy and perspective and grace while still maintaining your ethics and your morals. I hope that you will never have to deal with this. I hope that it does not come to that for you. I hope and pray that for you. So, anyway, I'm fine. The show is continuing. We will be fine. I'm not going to go into too much detail as to the results of that, but big rock, make big wave. No cast list posting ever runs smoothly. So there were obviously lots of problems with this one. That was a hard lesson to learn. A good practice in how to be professional, a good practice in how to be empathetic, not sympathetic or manipulated. Empathetic. Practicing empathy is a learned skill, and we learned a lot of that. We are a third of the way through our production now, And I would be lying if I said we weren't still feeling the effects of the cast list. It is hard to watch kids have to learn things the hard way. And this is something that I'm still kind of navigating as a director, how to handle those emotions in a audition process and in the rehearsal process. How far is too far? Where do I set boundaries? And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Overall, though, this show I think was cast correctly. I am confident in my decision. I think the kids that were put in these roles were the correct kids to be put in these roles. And I absolutely cannot wait to work with some of my newer ones. We have one student who's new to the school who has done acting before, and we have two students who've never acted before in this show, and they are excellent. They are gung-ho and so ready to work and try something new, and that's what I want. You know, that's that hard work element that is so important for natural talent. You can have a lot of talent, you can have a lot of natural ability, but it doesn't mean anything if you're not going to put the work in or the dedication into that ability. So anyway, that's my first ever theater vlog for how auditions and the cast list posting went. It was a fraught emotional time, but I'm excited. I think this show is going to be great, and I cannot wait to update more as the process goes. Lots of stuff has been learned this first year, so let me know if this has helped you in any way as to how you set up your auditions, what it is that you look for in auditions. I would love to know if it helped at all. I would also love to know if there's anything I need to fix, anything that I could improve. I'm always open to ideas and correction. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more theater content, hit the like, subscribe, so I can know what you guys want to see. Anyway, it's so crazy. It's been almost a year since I was asked to apply for this job. That's hard to believe. And it's been a ride, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So until then, I will see you later.